I'm Dr. Nick Fugate, and I'm reading a story written by Dr. James Golden on the miracle at 4 Mile. This is a true story that he wrote down for us. Christmas 1945 had been the day before. There hadn't been much in the stocking. It was a bitter cold at 4 Mile, Kentucky. At 7:45 a.m., there was a great thump in the ground, and a smoke ring rose into the sky. The Kentucky Straight Creek Belva No. 1 mine had exploded. 31 men were in the mine, some of them 2 miles in. Rescuers and gas masks fought through a series of explosions, flames, and monoxide gas. The walls were blistering hot from the fire. They found 2 charred dead bodies immediately. Flames and explosions prevented them from going further. 29 more men were in the mine. The condition of the 2 bodies and the violence of the exploding inferno in the mine spoke to the grieving families' hearts. They must all be dead. Mine rescue teams worked frantically in spite of despair. In time, there were 300 men gathered from all mines around working to save their brothers. Inside the mine, Bud Towns, a black coal miner, was working in the corridor known as 5 Left. Bud was 52 years old. When he was 36 years old, in 1929, he had been in the Kettle Island mine explosion that killed 6 men. He'd been buried alive, then rescued. He knew about mine explosions. He took charge. He led the others out in the main shaft, and they tried to get out. They couldn't get through the explosions, flames, and smoke. The shaking, trembling earth released springs and groundwater into the mine. The cold water was knee-deep. Bud led them further back into the mine. They gathered more men. There were 9 of them now. Bud drew arrows on the slate walls to guide the rescuers as they retreated deeper into the mine. He then took him to a side room and tried to keep out the smoke, methane, coal dust, and carbon monoxide. Bud made a sign on the slate that said, 9 miners in here, 11 a.m. He put it by the entrance to their side room, pulled an old door across the entry. Inside the room, there was blackness and cold. Then, Bud collected a few sandwiches from outside the room and brought them in. He made them lie down together for warmth. He wouldn't let them exert themselves trying to get out. Bud Towns prayed. They found a tiny crack in the wall where a trickle of fresh air came in. They all got together over near that. They all felt that the little trickle of air was a miracle. Where else would it come from that exploding, burning, gas-filled mine, except from God, in answer to prayer? Bud rationed the food and water out to the other men, but wouldn't take any himself. A sign of carbon monoxide poisoning set in as the men began to hallucinate. Bud Towns quoted the scriptures, the Psalms. The rescuers reached them after 53 hours, 2 days and 2 nights and 5 hours. They could not see any definite signs of life in them. Albert Bennett, age 64, the oldest man in the mine, died on the way to the surface. The other 8 men were taken to Pineville Hospital. 8 still alive, of 11 total found. Jim Bain was found deceased, still kneeling by the sign he had made on a piece of slate. It said, "God bless us all," is my prayer. At the hospital, 8 still living were put in the big men's ward of Pineville Hospital. I was a beginning medical student, home for the holidays. As I looked around the room, I could see no signs of life. The doctors and nurses were putting in IV fluids and giving oxygen. The men were nearly dead from hypothermia, dehydration, and respiratory failure. It will be hard for young people to believe this, but in 1945, the hospitals were still segregated. If a black person was put in with the whites, there would be outrage. Although initially all covered in coal dust, someone discovered that Bud Towns had been put in the ward with the white miners. A gurney was brought in to move him. The white miners dimly realized, through their flickering senses, what was happening. All but Tom McQueen, who was unconscious, rose up with hoarse shouts to leave him alone. Leave him there, where they could see him. He had saved their lives. The Pineville Hospital was integrated from then on, nearly 20 years before the Civil Rights Movement. Tom McQueen, age 30, died after 2 days. He was never conscious after leaving room 5. 7 survivors were listed of the 31. There were actually only 6. Who was the man listed as a survivor who really didn't survive? Who was the missing man? It was the black coal miner, the black hero, who gave his life that his white brothers might live, Bud Towns. I've struggled with this inside me since it happened. I had to tell his story. Bud Towns' name should never be forgotten. He must not remain the missing man, the forgotten man from the miracle at 4 Mile. Albert Israel Bud Towns died March 19, 1946, of bronchial pneumonia and carbon monoxide poisoning. God welcomed him. He gave his life for McKinley Leith, Evan Philpott, Huey Miller, Charles Lingar, Joe Hatfield, and Bill Brandstutter.